Now, JW.org or JW.org Broadcasting, they come out with this new brochure saying, can you enjoy life forever? Or can you live forever? And so they asking the question. But at the same time, they're proclaiming that you can live forever. And they're using Psalms 37:29, where it said, well, King David was telling his people that the Most High was going to get rid of the wicked, the adversaries, until the nation of Israel, and they was going to be able to see that day. And he was telling them they should inherit the earth and live forever upon it. And so these so-called Jehovah's Witnesses, they're proclaiming this to all nations. You see, they coming out of the context of what King David was saying to his people, and they putting it on all nations. But Zechariah chapter 14, the conclusion of the prophet Zechariah, he gave a different scenario, because their scenario is God is gonna reward the faithful people who exercise faith in his son of all nations to be in a paradise, and all of those faithful people from all nations will live forever. That's what they're saying. But the Bible don't say that, and the prophets never prophesied about that. And when you understand the Bible, the words in the Bible are faithful and true. Now let's get that in Isaiah, because see, this is what the problem is. People don't know the rules on how this book was written. They had rules and guidelines. See, thing just didn't. It just wasn't a poetry. How they try to, some of the people that try to debunk Jehovah's Witnesses, that's they mad about whatever's going on with the organization, and they mad about them being shunned and ostracized from their families. They saying that they quoting Psalms, and Psalms was poetry, being poetic. Now they do admit that he was being poetic about the nation of Israel, and that Jehovah's Witnesses, they take it out of context and put it to themselves and all nations, and mainly for themselves, because all of the nations that go to the so-called Kingdom Hall, and all the nations that are going through Jehovah's Witnesses. You see, that's what they're really saying. But the words in this Bible is not no poetry. This stuff, every word in here is faithful and true. Now Isaiah 55:11, it says, so shall my word be that go forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void. Meaning, when I say the nation of Israel is going to live forever on the earth, that's not going to come back being something different. Nobody can come back to me pretty much telling me that it didn't happen. It didn't happen that way. You see? And he goes on to say, it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. So what he trying to accomplish with the nation of Israel, going back to their homeland, living forever there, is promises that he gave to their forefather Jacob. See, it's a promise that he's been promising throughout all the prophets. Now, Isaiah 55:11 goes on to say, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So he sent it to all these nations and to the Israelites to let them know the Israelites are gonna live forever in their homeland, and it's not gonna be with everybody living forever, because that wasn't the promise. Wasn't for everybody. This Bible is not for everybody. It's for the children of Israel. And so, let's get another clear statement from the Bible that shows you that these so-called Jehovah's Witnesses that's saying that they teaching the Bible and what the Bible teaches, that's totally not accurate. Zechariah 14:14. It says, Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen or all the nations round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. So it's saying that the Israelites is going to go back to Jerusalem, and all the other nations are going to give their wealth to them. Now, jumping down to verse 16, it say, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the king. So now, all of these nations that's giving their wealth to the Israelites, they're going to have to go up to worship the king. When? The Lord, the king, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, the Feast of Tabernacles goes back to the Israelites all the way. Verse 17, it says, and it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So now, he's saying he's not going to rain on their land. Now what happened? What's going to happen if they don't come up to the Feast of Tabernacle? What is going to happen when there's no rain in the land of the so-called heathen? And why is there no rain going to come now? Hold on now. Let's stop right there. Has it ever been famine on the earth? And the Jerusalem was still on the map, when everybody know where it is. Do they are they the only people that have droughts? Let's not even go there. Is it a Feast of Tabernacle held in Jerusalem? And is it a king in Jerusalem? First of all, there's no king in Jerusalem, man. That just make it plain. There's no king in Jerusalem, so there's no rules of all nations got to go to their Feast of Tabernacle. So when you're looking at verse 17, it say all the families of the earth got to go to Jerusalem to worship the King, and if they don't go, it shall be no rain. And where is this rain supposed to go? On in their land, because they're not going to live in Jerusalem. The Jerusalem is for the Israelites. These other families of the earth are going to have to live in their own land, which he gave them, because this land was given to the Israelites. Verse 18, it says, if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, where the Lord shall strike the heathen that come not up to the Feast of Tabernacles. You see, 19, this shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacle. Come on now. So if they don't keep the feast, it ain't going to be no rain. And if it don't rain on your land, it's going to be a famine. And if you have a famine, you going to drop dead. because you ain't gonna have nothing to eat. You can't eat dust. But hold on, the Jehovah's Witnesses say the earth's going to be a paradise, and all nations that's supposed to go to Jerusalem and worship the King at the Feast of Tabernacle, they're not going to have to worship no King of Tabernacle. The whole earth is going to be theirs, and they're going to all live in harmony, and everything is going to be all right. They're going to live forever in harmony and peace. Be no tears. What you think when these people don't go to the Feast of Tabernacle, they going to have some tears. They going to have some pain, some sorrow. See, it's going to be punished. They're going to have a punishment if they don't obey the King. And why is this happening? It's not the only place it's stated. Now, when you go to Isaiah chapter 2, Isaiah spoke on the same situation. What did Isaiah say? And see, the Jehovah's Witnesses love this verse and this section of the Bible. They love this one. It says in verse 2, it said, "It shall come to pass in the last days that this is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain, and shall be exalted above all hills, and all nations shall flow into it." See, they'll tell you, oh, see, all nations are going to be in the paradise. Now, when you get to verse 3, it says, "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord." Or they'll say Jehovah, but his name is Yahweh. "To the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his path." Now here go the key part. "For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." Why did they say out of Zion? And the whole earth supposed to be a paradise? Who cares about a Zion? If the whole earth is going to be a paradise, and we're going to live in a paradise, why is the out of Zion shall go forth the law? Now, when you read their New World Translation, they say the law. They say law. They don't say the law. They made sure they didn't put that "the" in there. They said law shall come from something. But at the end, any kind of law, why is it coming from Jerusalem and Zion? And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Why is he coming from Jerusalem? Why ain't it's coming from Yahweh Shah, the King? Which the King is going to be the 144,000 right along with Yahweh Shah, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. But see, this is the plain and simple situation. They want to use our records, but they don't understand the records, and they totally off. Now, when you're talking about the Israelites, it's also another thing about living forever. When you go into Zechariah chapter 12, it say, when all of this second coming and this battling go down, chapter 12 verse 8, it say, "And in that day the Lord shall defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem." Who was the inhabitants of Jerusalem? The Israelites. "And he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them." You see, it was always a promise that these Israelites would be like the angel of the Lord. And so when Paul was writing in 1 Corinthians 15, he let it be known who was going to have immortality, who was going to live forever. He told them in verse 15 and starting in chapter 15 of 1 Corinthians, chapter 50, he said, "Now this is I say, brethren, he talking to the Israelites, his brethren, his family, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither do corruption inherit incorruption. 51. Behold, I show you a mystery or a secret. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Now, who is this we? Now, let's pause for the cause. Who is this we is he talking about? Is he talking about some church? Is he writing this letter for so-called, they want to say they the Christian followers of Christ? No, when he talking to a specific people. When you go to chapter 10, now that's chapter 15. Let's go to chapter 10, verse 1, and see who this all is talking about. We all will be changed. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual food. So there's no way in the world is all people is going to be changed. Let's finish the verse in 1 Corinthians 15 and 52. In a moment, change in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall be sound. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. You see? 54. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So that's why the Israelites is going to live forever, because that's when this change going to happen. When the battle goes down, the Israelites, in the second coming, the Israelites is going to be changed into a new body. Now what is he talking about when he talking about these bodies? Verse 40 of 1 Corinthians 15, verse 40 breaks it down. But let's do 39 just to get in 38 just to get the context. But God giving it a body as have pleased him, and to every seed his own body. 39. All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another fish, and another of bird. 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. And so that's what he's talking about. We're gonna get a celestial Salakia. We're gonna get a terrestrial body, because the celestial is the moon, sun, and stars, the stars and all this kind of stuff, the sun, the moon. But the terrestrial is the spiritual bodies that we're going to get. He talks about that in verse 44. He said, it was sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. So we was born a natural body as a fleshly man, but we're going to put on immortality. That's when he say in Zechariah 12, he said the nation of Israel, the elect of the nation of Israel, is going to turn into the angel of the Lord. They're going to be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. The feeble, see, we in feeble fleshly bodies now. but we're going to get spiritual bodies. And why are we going to get these bodies? What are we going to do when we get the bodies? Let's get the conclusion in Revelation chapter 2. Revelation chapter 2 tell you why we going to need these bodies. 2:26. It say, and he that overcometh and keep my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nation. This is the power he going to give to the nation of Israel so they can rule over the nation. He going to give them immortality, spiritual bodies. And what are they going to do with these spiritual bodies? 27. And he shall rule them with the rod of iron. As the vessel of a potter shall they be broken into shivers. See, he's going to have to break the nation. And he's not going to break them with fleshly bodies. Now, let me get that verse, because that verse is powerful. Okay, I got it. In Isaiah 31, he says, now the Egyptians are men and not God. Their horses flesh and not spirit. You see, that's why he's going to give the nation of Israel spiritual bodies so they can rule over these fleshly men of the nations. That's going to have to come up and worship the king and get the law from the Israelites. That's why he told the Israelites that they're going to be a kingdom of priests. That's Exodus 19. And he told them in Revelation 5:5 that they're going to rule. Is it 5:5? No, 5:10. It say that 5:10. He said, and he made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. See, the Israelites is going to reign on the earth with spiritual powers, with spiritual bodies. That's why they're going to live forever, and that's why Yahushua was telling his people. He was telling the Israelites that if y'all believe, y'all going to rule with these spiritual bodies and live forever. Because y'all have an everlasting kingdom. When you go into Daniel 7:18, he tells them they're going to take the kingdom and possess it forever and even forever. When you go into Ezekiel 37:25, he told King David that he's going to be pretty much, and King David just represent the nation of Israel. Him and his children is going to rule the kingdom forever. See, this the promises that he gave the nation of Israel, and that's what Peter was talking about: a new heaven and new earth, where righteousness is going to dwell. That means the new kingdom was going to be for the Israelites, and he used David as a representation of the faithful Israelites. And that's what Revelations 13:10 is talking about. We're going to put these nations in captivity because they put us in captivity. We're going to kill them with the sword and with whatever we got, because that's what they did to us. And that's the faith of the saints. Not no everybody in the world living forever. That's not the faith of the saints. The faith of the saints is putting these other nations into captivity and living forever. That's the faith of the saints, and the saints is the Israelites, the holy ones. As the New World Translation is for are the Israelites. It's not everybody. Anybody can be a holy one. When you go in Matthew 25, it talks about that when the Son of Man come in his glory, he's going to separate the nation. He didn't say when he come in his glory, he's going to bring everybody together. No, he's going to separate the nation, and they're going to be in their lands. They're going to live in their lands, and then they're going to follow what Zechariah was saying. They're going to bring their wealth to the Israelites and come and worship And at Jerusalem, like Isaiah chapter 2, they're going to come to Zion to get the law and how they're supposed to conduct themselves. And Revelation tell you that new books is going to be open. So it's going to be a new law. Any law that's new is going to be coming out of Jerusalem. And so these people not teaching the Bible. They teaching their hopes and their dreams. See, they teaching their own mind. They not teaching you, thus saith the Lord. 1 Peter 4:11. They not speaking the oracles of God. He said, if any man speak, let him speak the oracles of God. So God can get the glory. Isaiah 8:20. If they don't speak unto the law or to the testimony, there's no light in them. See, these people not telling you what's in the Bible. They pulled out a one verse out of Psalms and tried to base some kind of fantasy off of it. So you can't pull one verse out of Psalms and try to say something gonna happen. Then when you go to Isaiah 66, it tells you what this new heaven and new earth is gonna be about. It's not gonna be about everybody coming together. It's gonna be about the Israelites. Where we at? But I'm gonna leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.